I can't believe I'm saying it, but I recently heard someone say that they didn't enjoy the creative process. Let's get into it. I recently came across a claim that left me pretty shook, pretty stunned. Mikey Schulman, founder of Suno, S-U-N-O, said in an interview that most people find the music creation process not really enjoyable. And then this idea struck a nerve in me, not just because I completely wholeheartedly disagree, but because it's so disconnected from my own personal experience. I don't usually make videos like this. You'll notice this is different for me if you follow this channel at all. But I did feel compelled to share my thoughts because as someone who lives in the creative world, that this is primarily what I'm doing, I had to jump in. I had to say something, or at least I felt compelled enough to be here. And so before we dive in, I want to talk about two videos that I saw that helped me get here. The first was from Anthony Fantano. If you're not familiar, he is an internet personality who is deep inside of the music world. I love his content. Anthony, you're a fucking rock star. I love what you do. Musician, music critic, music culture connoisseur, everything. I really think that he's extremely sharp and sees it. And I like what he has to say. So go check him out. He's the one that introduced me to Mikey Schulman's interview where Mikey talks about this on Suno, and Schulman's statement. And the second was Josh Heath Scott. Now he's the JHS of JHS Pedals. If you're watching this, you're probably familiar with JHS Pedals. You're probably in the similar space. And Josh on his personal channel released the video 5 Things Every Creative Person Should Consider, inspired by Wendell Berry. This was a great video to watch. I really enjoyed it. It was just because I like Josh's mind, and seeing this pop up in my feed, of course I was going to, because it's both Josh and creativity. Of course I was going to watch it. And so when you take that creative process video, and then today Anthony Fantano's response to Schulman's quote, the two just kind of collided, and it was just a perfect storm, and it got my wheels turning. And so here we are. Now, I spend a great portion of my time, a huge part of my life, in creativity, in creating. I'm a content creator at Gibson, where I make content for various channels, which I'm extremely grateful that I have the opportunity to do that. I love it. It is just so life-giving. And then I help other content creators and influencers make content for Gibson as well. And then, as well as those two, I also am making content here right now for you as Gibsunday. And so this is a thing that I'm always kind of immersed in, is in the creative process. I do this because I love it. Very simply, like, that's the reason. I'm here because I love it, and I just want to do more of it. And I'm grateful to have the specific feeling that I am just getting into a sweet spot, like a rhythm, and I'm really, really liking where I'm at in this creative process, and I hope that I get to do more of it, because I really do love it. So whether it's making videos for Gibson, or myself or you, whether it's writing songs, exploring new ideas, whatever the thing is, I love the creative process. It inspires me. It certainly challenges me on a daily basis, and it fuels my personal and professional passions. And it's definitely not always easy, but that's what makes it rewarding, is finding that seemingly insurmountable impasse and creating a way out, creating a way over or through or under or beneath, whatever it is, finding a way around it in some creative way. That is just so much fun for me. And so when someone comes along and claims that most people don't enjoy creating, it feels dismissive, to say the least. And Schulman's statements they didn't just irk me, they made me pause and reflect on what creativity truly means. And what it ultimately did is it sparked a creative flame in me that wanted to make a video as a response, which is ironic, to say the least. So I'd like to break down what Schulman says and my feelings on it. Schulman, who is a self-proclaimed mediocre musician, according to his Twitter profile, he says that people don't enjoy creating, and then he himself creates an entire AI system to replace the process. All right, I don't like to create, so I created something that creates. Okay, Here's the irony. The time, the effort, and the expertise it took to create his company, Suno, it absolutely rivals the dedication that a musician pours into their craft. Whether it's building a career, whether it's just a longtime songwriter, stage performer, whatever it is, stage hand, it certainly rivals that time, that effort, the energy, and to develop that kind of expertise. You know, if it's Suno coding, developing engineering, raising funds, running a company, these don't exactly happen overnight, right? I mean, he's building something that builds things. And even though that's the case, even though he creates to replace creativity, he still dismisses the effort of writing a song, which is an act of personal expression, because to him it's become inherently unenjoyable, and has the audacity in this single moment to dismiss it on behalf of all creatives. To me, this perspective, it misses the point entirely, because creativity is not about ease, it's about connection. And so whether you're writing a song to connect with the moment, to connect with another person, or maybe you're selling a product and you're trying to help someone solve a problem, you're ultimately trying to create connection. Whatever it is that you're connecting to, that attempt at memorializing or recreating an experience is itself a connection. You're trying to connect, not about something being easy. The best songs, the ones that we love, the ones that stay with us, they come from lived experiences. And whether that's heartbreak, love, loss, sex, joy, whatever it is, they're raw and they're real, and it's human experience. And this is something that AI can't and won't replicate unless we manage to make AI sentient beings. It just doesn't have the experience of memory or emotion to draw from. And that's because in and of itself, it is artificial. It's not real. It's what we've created. And so it's really just a reflection of, the amalgamation of information, not the reflection of experience, because it itself hasn't experienced those things. When I think about the creative process, I think about moments that define us. And for example, I'll forever be changed by what it was like having my son, my first son, my son being born, not my first son, my first child, my only son being born. I remember the hospital, I remember the cafeteria, I remember the room in which he was born, I remember everything. I remember what I was wearing, I remember all of it, because it was just such a deeply transformative process. I remember holding for the first time, I remember crying and weeping, holding him, and reconciling myself to the reality that I'm now a father of a human being, and it's now my most important job on this planet to protect him and care for him and provide for him and teach him and lead him and so on. And as a result, that process doesn't just change my creativity around me writing a song for him or me creating something for him. It changes my entire creative process. If you're a parent, this is something you can understand. It changes how you now see and interact with the world. You're different than you were before. The same can be said in reverse. Maybe it's not about a new life being brought into the world. Maybe you've lost someone, and the grief that you experience as a human being is now going to forever impress upon you in all things that you do. You'll experience your life with the awareness of the absence of theirs. And so how you create is going to run up against, conflict with, be challenged by, be fueled by their absence. And that creative process is important to you because of your lived experience. Back to my son, that memory is woven into every song I write about him or about love or about anything really. It's a part of me. And it's so much more than just words. It's a piece of my soul. Now a very, very large piece of my soul that affects how I write. It affects how I create. So this is why Shulman's claim, it just doesn't resonate with me. It's why I think he's wrong. The labor of creation, the struggle, the breakthroughs, it's the best part. Sure, performing is amazing. But that's something different entirely. Building a fan base, having your friends, your family love it, support it, want more of it, whatever, also amazing. But those are also byproducts of your creation. Those come after you've spent time laboring over whatever it is that you're making. And this is all rooted in the process of creating something deeply personal and meaningful. Now, here's how I approach creativity. I don't enjoy repeating myself. When I first started making videos, I was trying the guitar pedal demo thing, and I had a spot and did the thing, and I knew where to cut, and after a few of those, I was just, I was so bored. And so I tried it in other ways to build a rinse and repeat process, and same thing, I was just so bored. And so maybe now you'll notice in my videos, I try really hard to never repeat. Not completely stay away from repeating, but I want to bring you new concepts. I want to bring you fresh demos that aren't the same as before. I want the B-roll to be different. And it's not the most efficient way to work, but it keeps me inspired. And I have just as much desire to keep myself entertained as much as I want to keep you entertained. One of my favorite videos I've ever created on this channel, it has under 1,000 views. It did not do well. And I'm bummed that it didn't, because that one resonated with me so deeply. But I can stand behind the concept and the labor of love that went into it, and still be extremely grateful that I made it, and that it's something I'm proud of, in spite of it being widely accepted. I'm not going to point out what video it is, because that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to point you to something. This is just the point I'm making, that sometimes you'll make stuff that isn't well received, and that's okay. So it's about just having made it. I'm grateful for those that have watched it. And if you want to find it, it's, like I said, it's under 1,000 views. I'm really proud of it. I play one song 3 ways on 3 guitars. I'll leave it at that. And it's something I think is great. And it's okay that no one else thought that, or that no one else watched it. That's okay, because I'm so proud of it. I mean, yeah, I could make more if I used a rinse and repeat method, sure, but I'd burn out, and we don't need another burnout YouTuber. And instead, I focus on making things that feed me creatively, and not just ticking box or chasing metrics, because no data in the world can keep me being creative. To Shulman's point, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, go do something else. I think what he was trying to say was that he didn't enjoy the process, and so he wanted to make it more enjoyable for him. And if he had just said that, we wouldn't be here, right? It wouldn't have. If you Google him after this video, if you look him up during this video, you're gonna find that this is what pops up. It's a talking point. He ruffled feathers, because he was a little bit flippant in that. Again, if he had just said, I just didn't like it, I wanted to be better, and so this is what I did. Totally different spin, right? But instead, he said what he said. But don't be like Shulman and project your dislike onto everyone else if you don't like it. You don't have to. It's okay if music or creativity isn't your thing. Just, own it and go find your thing. For me, the creative process, doing this, sitting down, I've been working on this video for a few hours. I think I'm at 4 hours right now, which might seem like a lot, but again, in one iteration of this video, I smoked some wings, some chicken wings. I filmed that process. I talked through what I was doing. I talked through this whole thing. At another point, I lit a fire and then ate the wings over the fire and just enjoyed it outside. It's 20 degrees outside. It's a little less than 20 degrees right now. It's so cold. But I was enjoying making it, and I enjoyed making the fire, and I enjoyed the different shots and setting it up. Halfway through, my phone that I use as a reference and my microphone that I use to talk to you, both of them died. And it messed up the flow, and I had to completely reset. But that's fine, because I like this. And you've got to like what you're doing, because if you don't like it, you're not going to do it. So if you don't like what you're doing, just go do something else. You don't have to make others feel bad, or even you feel bad about not liking and doing it. Just go do something else. The creative process, it's hard, it's messy, but it's worth it. And to me, it's everything. And so if you're out there and you're creating, whether it's music, videos, art, life, whatever you're doing, just keep going, because the world needs more of that raw, the real, the heartfelt energy. All right, that's enough of that. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think? Do you agree with Shulman? Do you think that the creative process is cumbersome, too much, too tedious? Or do you agree with me that he's wrong, and that this is really where the juice becomes worth the squeeze? I want to hear your thoughts. So put them below. Let me know what you think. Also, thanks for watching this. I'm grateful that you took your time to entertain this video. I hope that you'll go create something and that you enjoy the process when you do. In the meantime, hit the like button and follow for more if you enjoy my creative process. And as always, until next time, stay tuned.